a little garbage you shared from Sam Harris, and I thought it was spot on, which I'm a communist at heart, so not shocking, but...
These people have to be no longer lionized as somehow exemplars of what you should be when you become wealthy. It should be embarrassing to be a billionaire who is not incredibly generous and obviously positive sum with respect to the common good, right? The billionaire who's just trying to maximize the escape plan to New Zealand and otherwise trying to hold on to every dime, that has to be embarrassing among other billionaires. You shouldn't be able to go to the party in Aspen and be in good standing reputationally if you're that much of an asshole.
But it's the opposite.
Right. It's the opposite because all these, we got a bunch of people who read too much Ayn Rand and science fiction and just didn't get a proper ethical toolkit. Like what Elon did with USAID should be an extinction level event for his reputation. These people have to be...
The Ayn Rand comment is on point, and
so funny.
As always, we'll get the comments that are like, "Oh, you guys are so dumb. Ayn Rand is great," and that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I love the comment because it's when you boil things down to a simple way, which he's able to somewhat here, which is like. There is a common good, is there not, in the society that you look around and exist in. If you hoard enough resources, which we're not going to do the chart. Everybody sees the chart where it's like, this is $1,000. This is $1 million. This is $1 billion. And it's a lot. It's too much. But if you have all these resources and you look around you and you're not actively trying to at least somewhat like ail some of society's ills in some way, you're not a good person. You should be embarrassed. That's the correct way to say it. You should be embarrassed. He's right.
Well, it's funny too because if you look around this country, there's a lot of buildings and institutions with the name Carnegie attached to it, and that's because that's actually how it used to be, even in the robber baron era. They were very philanthropic because it sort of excused the gross amount of money they were hoarding. And we don't even get that facade anymore. Elon Musk just got voted. Now, again, he has to meet some metrics. But if he actually becomes a trillionaire, I mean, like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah,
I don't know
the detail behind that, but I will say, the reason I believe your back in the day comment is a little bit better than today, in the very least. Let's not lionize these people as progressive icons. Let's not do that. But I do agree with your take in some way. Is back in the day, there's no internet. Everything was so localized, so they knew that. They knew, even if it was a selfish way of doing things, that buying influence in their local communities by investing dollars into it helped, and so they did it. You don't have to do that anymore, which sucks. Does that make sense? Where, like, you could go in every community and you might, at the time, even people who might think more collectively would be like, this is selfish and bullshit that we live in, the middle of nowhere, New Mexico, and there's a Carnegie High School because he gave a bunch of money. But at the time, it still gave money for that thing to exist, to actually do things, right? Where now it's just not right. It's not the same.
You're trying to buy goodwill because you were a shitbag entrepreneur.
Well, and also the fact that
worked.
Everything was localized at the time, so to do that is to invest locally. Where now everything's not localized, you don't have to do that, which sucks. Yeah.
There should be all the more pressure, though. Like, to me, in a media landscape where we're much more aware of everything.
You have ethics.
You should have...
Sure.
Right, I suppose.
Right.
It's just crazy to me that the robber barons of the early 20th century U.S., like that entrepreneurial class, was more philanthropic with their money than the Elon Musks of the world. Like, that's
if we can somehow get things more localized, you would somewhat get that back in a way. But things just aren't localized. Things are not localized. And that doesn't help. That doesn't help. It's not good. Money dries up more and more at the local level, which does a lot of, if not most of the things that happen to you. Or maybe your property taxes go up a lot just because now they have to like come up with dollars and this and that. It is what it is.
Right. And then you see somebody who has more money than they could spend in 1,000 lifetimes, and you're like,
And they're spending every
what are we
fucking
doing?
cent to just like give their wife a fucking wedding in some city in Italy for $50 gajillion, pump her lips and ass up, and try to go to Mars. Sucks.
Damn.
Sucks. That is hypothetical.
Yeah, the pressure.
But it sucks. Go ahead.
No, it definitely sucks. And if you do get your ass and lips filled,
you look
the
worse.
atmosphere on Mars is different. So just look into how that's going to affect how you
Just
look on the
everyone
surface
be
of Mars.
natural. Look good naturally.
Yeah. I did put a note in here just because, like, more and more this is the case. Because I see a lot of pearl clutching about the election of Mamdani in New York. Because people are like, oh, he's a I forget what does he call himself, a democratic
He does
socialist?
call himself a democratic socialist. That is correct. Yes.
Okay. Because there's a lot of pearl clutching, like, here comes communism, blah, blah, blah. And they just ascribe that, to the left, generally speaking, as if Nancy Pelosi is a fucking communist. But to me, an overwhelming amount of excess wealth at the top, while society at large is struggling to house and feed themselves,
It makes no sense.
when that gap gets bigger and bigger, people are going to jump to those more extremist ideologies as a response to just a dire situation.
Of course.
So if you want to prevent actual communists marching in the street, you
need
have
to present
have
more
a
opportunities.
just a more stratified society. You have no middle class.
Whatever you want to
most of
call
the
it,
money at the
people
top.
need opportunity in a way that makes them feel like they can reach higher and work harder to do so. They don't have it.
Right.
Then you're going to have crime and bullshit. That's what you're going to have.
People don't want to make barely above minimum wage to have 3 roommates and rent for the rest of their life. That is not a motivating fact.
But I don't even want to put a label or a number on it because it can happen in societies everywhere at different price points. People need opportunity that feels meaningful. If you don't have that generally in society, then you're going to have crime. Again, a great example of this here in the country we live in is there was a lot of African-American communities, and there still is to this day, but especially back in the day in the 70s and 80s, that were hurting because the African-American communities in these cities didn't have good opportunity like their counterparts. And so when you don't have good opportunity, you turn to, say it with me, crime. It's that simple. But if you give people opportunity, crime goes down.
Yep. I don't know. We're reaching levels of wealth disparity, like difference between the tiers of society, greater than like the French Revolution.
It's bad.
And you can only put your boot on somebody's throat for so long before shit snaps.
I don't even know if I believe that.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't even know if I believe that. But I'm with you.
What? If you can't feed your kids, man, people will start turning cars over in the street.
No, I see what you mean. That's fair. I agree. To destabilize that far. Sure. But I don't even need what I was going to say is I don't even need numbers and metrics to know that we don't do enough because there's plenty of less wealthy countries that like do a little bit more social service wise, and even by spending a little less. There's always that not stupid. I was about to say stupid. I apologize, Bernie. But there's always that thing Bernie harps on where it's like, you can say you're against socialized medicine all you want, but these countries that have, a Medicare for all, quote unquote, spend less per capita than we do on our shitty system, where not everyone has it. Make that make sense. It doesn't. So I don't even need any other numbers besides that. And of course, we're all told, like, in the same breath, like, we're the greatest nation, we're the wealthiest nation, but then at the same time, those of us that have brains are like, oh, then how come we don't have, like, basic needs covered across the board? That's not good. Why would we not do that? Anyways, I'm here for your communist thoughts all week. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. I mean, maybe not communism, but we certainly need to. Sam Harris is right in the sense that, like, Elon Musk should not be held in just high regard for pure sake of having billions of dollars.
Nobody should
absolutely worship at the altar of capitalism and entrepreneurship in this country to the point where we just take that lying down.